with Democratic Congresswoman Loretta Sanchez. She's also a member of the Congressional Hispanic Caucus. Congresswoman, it's great to see you. Thanks so much for the time.
Good morning, Kate.
So what is your reaction? What was your initial reaction when you heard that the president was delaying this move?
Well, let's remember that it's not just the Latino community, but many immigrant communities who have been waiting for something to happen. And so the first fault lies with the House of Representatives, the Republicans, who have refused to bring up anything on the House floor. So we've all been frustrated. All immigrant communities have been very, very frustrated about this, as well as the business community, the faith community. So when President Obama said to us, in particular the Hispanic Caucus, I'm going to get something done and you'll know by August, it is a disappointment. It is a frustration. And more importantly, there are probably about 60 or 70,000 families of all stripes that this affects with possible deportations between now and after the election.
Congresswoman, did you get any heads up that the White House was going to be making this delay?
Well, we understood from the President and from Secretary Johnson of Homeland Security that in August they would be reviewing a 6-page memo we sent to them with administrative issues that they could fix or work on or change, that they could help these families who have really been suffering because of this. Let me give you an example. Let's say that you're an American citizen and you fall in love with someone here and they happen to be here without the right documents. You marry them, they want to be with you, you file for them, they go to another country to put in the paperwork because they must be out of the country, and then they must stay there for 10 years until they are eligible to come back and be with you, even though they are married to an American citizen. So things like that can really be changed. Maybe you let them wait the 10 years here to get that status. And so, you know, there were things that were very, very practical on this list, and the president said he would address it with us. He would choose from that list. He would help us with that. And in fact, he has now delayed it until after the election. We had no heads up on that.
Well, then, Congresswoman, then you call some of these very practical, which kind of in political terms you would think would mean should be easy to pull off. Why then do you think the president is delaying it? The White House says that they think this issue is just too big to allow people, when they say, which they mean Republicans, to grandstand and win votes on it. Is that a good enough reason for you to delay action?
Look, there are various communities. From an economic standpoint, the business community has been saying, listen, we need to fix this broken immigration system. From a family values perspective, the faith community has said enough is enough. Don't deport these people. Don't pull apart families. And more importantly, from a Homeland Security perspective, the people who work on this say, listen, if we could make sure that these people who have economic reasons and family reasons that they want to be in this country, if we could get them off the chart and give them the right paperwork, then we could concentrate our limited resources on the people who really mean to do us harm. For all of these reasons, we should be getting it done now instead of after the election. So yes, of course, we're disappointed with the president, as the entire immigrant communities, all communities, are disappointed with the House Republicans for refusing to bring this up.
Well, that fight will continue, but I want to stay focused on the news of the president's decision. Let me play devil's advocate on the flip side of this. If you're frustrated and disappointed that the president is not acting now with these practical measures, as you said, why then, if this issue is so important, and if the president thinks that it could risk control of the Senate for Democrats, why then can't you just wait the 8 weeks or so till after the election to allow the president to do it?
Well, we have no choice. The president has at his discretion to do that. He has decided to do that. So we are going to have to wait. The problem is that in those 2 months that we're talking about, there could be up to 60,000 mothers. Because a lot of this is about women, by the way. Women, because usually the man has papers to work here. Most of the time the children are born here. It's the mother that is being deported to wherever it is, Korea, to Ireland, to Mexico, to whatever. And that is about, so important, it's so nuclear to the family, the mother. And so what we're talking about is families who are torn apart. And so it might seem like it's not a big deal to some people, but to every family it should be important.
Now, I want to get your final take on this. Your colleague, Congressman Luis Gutierrez, he described what the president's move as being playing it safe. I would also argue that this could be a gamble, kind of a political way of saying, fool me once, shame on you, fool me twice, shame on me. Does the president risk losing the trust of the Latino community after so many times of making promises and not following through? Do you think he risks hurting the Democratic Party's support by the Latino community?
Again, I'm going to emphasize it's not about Latino families. It's about all immigrant families. There are plenty of other communities that have been waiting for this. And the answer is that they understand, and we will let them know that it's, while the president is disappointed, the real reality is that these House Republicans have refused to work with us to move a bill that would solve this issue for the faith community, for our communities,
Congresswoman, has he made that job harder, though?
For the business community. I would say that it's always difficult during a political time to get out and to get out the right message and to go out and to make people understand. But we're revving up the machines to let all immigrant communities and our faith community is helping us from all angles to let people understand that it has been these House Republicans refusing to move a bill through the House of Representatives.
Congresswoman Loretta Sanchez, it's always great to see you. Thanks for your time.
Thank you.